Welcome back to Everyday Health for the Christian Woman. I'm Amber Swift, women's health specialist, certified integrative nutrition, health coach, and is trained in functional health and traditional Chinese medicine. But most importantly than that, I am here to help you feel like yourself again. Welcome back to the show. So here we are in this transition from late spring to early summer, and we're in the sun more, we're sweating more. We're swimming in pools more, and our skin is feeling dry, our hair is feeling dry, maybe even your mouth is feeling dry. Did you ever think that it might not just be because it's summertime? And it might not just be because you're going through that transition. Maybe you're in perimenopause, maybe you're in menopause, maybe you're even postmenopause. And it might not just be that. Did you ever think that it actually could be an imbalance internally? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm so thrilled to have you here. So I have been noticing this. So tell me if you have. Have you noticed that your eyes just feel a little more dry? Or maybe even your mouth, maybe even outside the corners of your mouth. Maybe your tongue feels a little more dry. Maybe even your hands are feeling dry and your nails are feeling drier. And no, it's not because you don't have the right skincare product. You haven't found just the right conditioner or the right beauty product. And those things do help. But if it's something that's off internally, none of those things will help. It's an internal signal. It is actually your body. It's communicating. And like I always say, what is your body saying? And we want to be alert to that. We want to pay attention to the yellow flashing lights and not wait until it's just a screaming red light. So the sudden dryness, the internal imbalance, so to speak, it's all signals. So we are going to go over what it could be saying and just some support. We're going to look at simple ways that you can begin supporting yourself today through your nutrition, your lifestyle, emotions, even. And while we are talking about it, go ahead and grab in the show notes. I have a symptom quiz for you to get to the root of your symptoms, because what I'm going to be talking about today is generalized advice. Let's look for specific for you in your life where you're at. And I also have a 15-minute review that you can set up with me also. Okay, so first let's look at this balance. So what we want internally is we don't want to be too wet and we don't want to be too dry. We don't want to be too hot and we don't want to be too cold, right? We don't want too much wind internally and we don't want too much stagnation. So it is important to have balance. In the external environment, our lifestyle around us, it all affects us, and our internal environment. Like, what are we taking in? So let's look at how you can nourish your body. If you are feeling exceptionally dry, how can you nourish your body with foods? What type of foods? So foods like bone broth, salmon. I love salmon, walnuts, soups. And isn't it interesting how when the temperature begins to rise, most people start wanting icy cold drinks and foods. And the problem is if you have too much of icy type foods, if you take too much of those type of foods in, that will throw your internal environment off. So even, yes, soups with more cooling vegetables like zucchini, spinach in them. I love that. Let's see, sweet potatoes, carrots, those are great for cooling and moistening your internal environment. Pumpkin, cucumbers, just a simple cucumber salad. You can take cucumbers, put some apple cider vinegar in there, olive oil, dill, parsley, garlic, onions, salt. I love Redmond's real salt to help remineralize. And so often when you feel really dry, it's because your mineral count is really low. And so that leads me to, in the morning, you can begin your day with some Redmond's real salt and lemon in your water and make sure that it's room temperature. Berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries are great for moistening your internal environment. Eggs, yogurt, if tolerated. I say if tolerated because if you have any hidden gut infection, yogurt, the fermented products in, the fermented byproducts in the yogurt can actually feed a gut infection. So yogurt, if tolerated, raw honey, local raw honey is incredibly moistening for your internal environment. Avocados. I love avocados. Avocados with like a little bit of Redmond's real salt, so good. Olives. So these are, from a nutritional standpoint, things that you can add into your diet to help moisten and cool your internal environment. And last but not least, the star of every picnic, watermelon. We love watermelon. The only thing about watermelon is, one, you don't want to eat too much of it. So take a serving. Don't be like my teenage son who literally finished the entire watermelon the other day and left us all without any. So don't do that. That's overboard. And then also watermelon is incredibly alkalinizing, which we don't want our body to be too acidic. We want it to move more towards alkaline, if I can say that word. But the thing is that you do need acid in your gut to digest your food. So if you're going to eat watermelon, eat it alone. Okay, so some ways to add, like, let's look at like drinks. We all love drinks in the summertime. Nettle tea is incredibly filled with antioxidants and minerals and electrolytes. So putting nettle loose leaf tea into like a big glass pot at night and then letting it sit on your counter all through the night and then drinking it throughout the next day, that will be incredibly like moistening and just alkalinizing and also give you more minerals. What else? Bone broth. I mentioned bone broth. I love making my own homemade bone broth. Add bone broth to your days, have a cup of it. Lemon water, warm beverages. All of those. Yes, do those. My favorite is definitely the herbal tea and the bone broth and the lemon water. I start my morning every single day with lemon water. Okay, so let's look at some gut support, some ways to support your gut, because when your gut is off, the rest of your body is off. It throws everything off. So things like probiotics, once again, the caveat there is if you do not have any type of hidden gut infections, because sometimes it can feed it. You want to remove the gut infection and then add in the probiotics. If you're not sure if you have a hidden gut infection, go ahead and set up a review with me. Let's get to the root of that. Also, marshmallow root. You can drink this in the form of herbal tea. It's incredibly moistening for your internal environment. You can also take it as a supplement, but I think the tea is just so much easier. It's so much easier for your body to absorb. Aloe vera. You can add aloe vera to smoothies, but once again, you do not want to go overboard with your smoothies. So pay attention to how your body reacts. After you have a smoothie, do you feel energized or do you feel bloated and drained? This will tell you if it's too much, if it's just too much. Herbs, let's add in some herbs. So American ginseng, reishi, which is great. Mushrooms are great as long as, once again, mushrooms will feed candida. So if you have candida in your gut, you do not want to add in mushrooms. What else? Astragalus. I love astragalus. Astragalus is so good for building up your immune system. So these are a couple of herbs that you can add in. So let's talk about some things to avoid. So we always want to add in things that help with increasing our health, our overall health vitality. And all of these foods and drinks and liquids and herbs that we talked about, these are things that you can add in, but what needs to be removed? So if you are feeling very dry and hot internally, you're going to need to remove some things. So what are a few things? Gluten. Gluten can be really problematic. Dairy. Conventional American cow dairy is what I always say. Remove that. Sugar. Sugar can really cause your internal environment to just be really off balance, and it can cause drying in some, but it can also cause a lot of dampness in others. So really getting rid of just all the sugars in your diet. Alcohol. Alcohol, there's really no benefits. So remove that. Fried foods. Deeply heavy fried foods, you're going to want to remove that if you're feeling very, very dry internally and hot internally. And then spicy foods. Those are a few things that you're going to want to remove. Okay, so now let's talk about our lifestyle. It's so interesting. Most of us do not even think about our lifestyle when we're talking about our health. Isn't that interesting? So, oftentimes when somebody is feeling imbalanced, maybe they're, like we're talking about really, really dry internally, maybe even hot, like the hot, cold sweats, it's really sweating at night, and maybe even feeling very angry. There's some lifestyle tips that will help. One, you need to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. This is when your body heals. This is when your body is restored. This is when almost every major organ detoxifies and begins replenishing and healing. So you want to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. Another thing, oftentimes these symptoms of the dryness and just easily angered, a lot of times, so one of the emotions that is associated with that is hopelessness. And so if you are feeling like you don't have purpose, if you don't have hope, you want to combat those. So a couple of really practical things to do is write down 5 to 10 things that you are thankful for every single day. Write down one truth. God has a future for me. He does. He has a hope for me. He has a purpose for me. These type of things. Start looking and dreaming. A good book to read is by Bob Goff called Dream Big. So often the things that we naturally did as children, we forget to do as adults. And one of those is dreaming. We need to be dreaming because if you still have breath in your lungs and your heart is beating, you still have a purpose and a plan, and you need to be dreaming. So start dreaming. Begin talking to people who encourage that in you, who encourage hope and dreaming, envisioning. A talk with a good friend does wonders. If you don't have that, finding a good counselor will help. And I'll drop a link in my show notes to a really good counselor if you don't have one. But just this dream, vision, hope. You are here. You have a purpose. You have a plan. God is not done with you yet. And you are unique, and there's nobody like you, and nobody else can do what you can do. Nobody else can say what you can say. Nobody can reach the people that you are called to reach. So keep dreaming. So lifestyle, keep dreaming, sleep. Movement. It is so important every day to get movement. This helps with prevention of internal stagnation. We don't want that. And it also helps with cooling. So if you are experiencing a lot of dryness, which is what we're talking about, you want to do more cooling type exercises. Walking, stretching, deep breathing, swimming laps. These are very cooling exercises internally and externally, but you're still moving. You're still getting the exercise that you need to get. We were created for movement. So your body wants to be balanced. It doesn't want to be too hot. It doesn't want to be too cold. It doesn't want to be too damp or too dry or too windy or stagnant. So we need balance. These symptoms that we're talking about, they're communicating. These are your signs. These are your signals. You need to listen to it, and you need to ask yourself, what is my body communicating? Dry hair, brittle hair, dry nails, dry skin. None of these things are normal. It's your body communicating. So what is it saying? So look in the show notes. I have a 15-minute appointment with me for you. I have a symptom quiz in there. And you know what? I'm also going to put in my booklet that I put together for supporting your hair, your nails, your skin, because this is something that is important to us. It is. God created it. There's nothing wrong with that. So remember that health is a journey, but it is a journey worth taking. So go ahead and join me on this journey. Leave a comment, a question. I would love to hear from you. And if this helped you, please share it with a friend. Like us, follow us, hit the bell and subscribe. And I can't wait to meet with you again next time.